Hey guys, Joe here with Reasonable Media. Well, folks, here we are, morning after the 2018 midterm elections, and the blue wave again turned out to be more of a blue puddle. Now, Democrats were able to regain the House, and that was imperative to them. That was do or die. If they had failed at that, the Democratic Party would have ended last night. Meanwhile, they actually lost seats in the Senate in a midterm election when the opposing party is in power, which typically that does not happen. Now, I get it. I know the math and the map was unfavorable. And so, yeah, Democrats were never going to win the Senate to begin with. Everybody knew that, except for maybe Democrats. But they lost, and they lost hard. They also lost some of their hard-fought gubernatorial campaigns, which, man, I hate that word. Sidebar, how does governor turn into gubernatorial campaigns? Somebody leave me a comment below and explain how that one word turns into another. Anyhow, though. So, postmortem, what have we learned? First, and most importantly, Democrats have no idea what their platform is. In an earlier video, I mentioned that they should drop gun control and maybe try to pick up a few Midwest independent voters. But so far, they haven't listened to me, so they're still platformless. Which means really all they ran on was being anti-Trump. And surprisingly, that was enough for them to flip the House, right? That sole platform item, that single issue, was enough to motivate enough single-issue voters that are anti-Trump to flip the House. But for them to have mounted a blue wave, what they really needed is all of those single-issue voters and then everyone else who would stand behind the Democrats on their policy, on their political stances. But they just don't have any idea how to cater to rich voters, which they've grown accustomed to since the Clinton years, while still getting blue-collar voters to get in line and vote for them. Now, the other thing this tells us is that Trump's got a solid chance at 2020. You look at the results from last night, and it's the guys who resisted Trump in the House that got booted, right? It was the Republicans who didn't fall in line behind the president, and now they're gone, which means you got a much more Trumpian-looking Republican Party in the House. And so, like I pointed out in yesterday's video, this sends a very loud message to everyone else that's left that now is the time for them to get in line, lockstep behind President Trump. And if they don't, they're going to lose their seats. Now, if we look at the results from last night, though, what we see is essentially platformless Democrats who are still competitive against a very clearly defined, the very clearly defined platform of Donald Trump, right? So that suggests that if Democrats are able to find an actual party leader, and I don't mean, Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, any of these, any of those guys, but if they find somebody who can actually speak to the American people, who can actually speak to the blue-collar workers, the way that Trump can, the way that Obama tried, then Democrats pose a real challenge in 2020 for Trump and the Republicans. If you have somebody who, one, can talk to the people, and then two, more importantly, has a message for a people, and you add to that the astonishing amount of single-issue anti-Trump voters, you've got a coalition of voters that would surpass everyone who comes out for Donald Trump. And I think that's Democrats, if it isn't their number one priority right now, today, this moment, it needs to be if they want to win in 2020. But without that, barring them having this party leader, who I don't think they're going to find in the next 2 years, or this party message, which I don't think they're going to find. I think this winning the House is going to empower them to dig down on their anti-Trump message and pollute the water with a bunch of unnecessary investigations, maybe a couple of necessary investigations. But I don't think they're going to actually define a platform. I think they're going to be too busy muddying themselves down with that. And so as a result, right now, it looks like Trump is probably going to coast to victory in 2020. I think last night is probably a good reflection, a good prediction of what you might expect to see in 2 years. Trump is going to win. Yeah, he'll take some knocks, maybe in the Senate, maybe in the House, maybe in the governor's races. I'm not saying that word again. But ultimately, he and the Republican Party are poised right now to win in 2020. So you tell me, what do you think? Was last night a good night for Democrats because they won the House? If they weren't able to win some of their more important races last night, do you think that they're going to win in 2020? Leave a comment below and let me know. If you like this video, leave a like, hit the subscription button, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.